Good evening everybody, welcome back to the Bird Room. I'm Shane from Direct Bird Products. Um, Today we're just going to talk about obviously the end of the season for me, except for a few that's just on eggs and finishing off. Also going to show you a few of the younger birds. That doesn't mean I'm going to show you all the birds. Throughout the breeding season we've had obviously quite a few hiccups along the way, things happening. I'll try and explain some of them and my opinion on why. But also I didn't, through the breeding season, I didn't show you all the birds that we've bred and obviously reasons why. I mean, we've got some young redpolls over here being fed by canaries. And for the life of me, I've been trying to figure out why the redpolls won't feed. They just won't this year. And I'm not the only one, so anyone out there who's had a rough year and not got what they wanted, don't worry about it. It's happening across the board. On the other hand, you've got people like Bob Fairchild, or Billy is his actual name, not Bob. He's doing fantastic with his hybrids and some other stuff, so my hat's off to him. He's a nice lad, so wish him all the best with them. Hopefully he can get through the molt, and I'll see him on the show bench hopefully later on this year. But yeah, like I said, redpolls, siskins, not been very fruitful this year. I mean, it goes to contrast with breeding in cages or flights and trying to find the best option for them. And if you think about some of the birds as you're going into breeding season, if the last year's young ones, you don't know how they're going to perform this year, so it's a learning curve. But good thing I can take away from this year's breeding is the ones that didn't perform in cages or didn't perform in flights and vice versa, for the next year we can swap them around. But yeah, so what we're going to look at and explain a few things. As I explained on Wednesday, the breeding season is about up on us, for me anyway. It was asked of me about a short breeding season, but in my eyes it's not short for me. It suits me. I'm quite happy with the way the things have moved. We can only, well, we all want more. We're greedy as human beings, but some will say they'd rather have 2 or 3 in a shed that is brilliant than a shed full of crap. But I beg to differ. I would love a shed full of good stuff, but it is what it is, and let's move forward and have a look what's going to be on the show bench this year. Like I said, we've got some Norwich over there. I'm waiting for them to dry off, and I'll try and show them later on in the video, because as it is, sod's law, before I cleaned out, I put baths on them, and as soon as you put a bath on birds, they will bath. But I put it on before cleaning out, obviously, so I can take the wet stuff out and put the stuff back in. So something there to show you, some young greenfinches, some young fives, and I will catch one of the crossbills up to show you this time. We'll show you one of the, or a couple of the young redpolls that is in the nest still. I think one's normal and one's a brown pastel or double factor. It's a pair that I got Stacey Turner that produced this. And just show you a few bits to keep it interesting. I know last few episodes have been more on talking than showing birds, but I'll try and include a few more in it today so you can all have a look. So yes, let's get on to explaining why. So this breeding season, 2021, as a lot of you know, I'm in partnership with Mark Ponting. And between us, I personally am happy with how things have turned out. I've got a few greenfinches. In fact, I've got a few hardbills in general throughout. Mark's done quite well. He's got mutation blackbirds, bullfinches, crossbills, greenfinches, and also some really interesting things to see is a lot may know that Mark a few years ago, 2 years ago I think it was, he had a greenfinch crossbill that Aidan mistakenly took from the show, which was mine, and a big mix-up anyway. Aidan ended up taking it back to Mark's. Mark chucked in a flight with a greenfinch hen. Hey presto, he got a young one from that. Nothing ever come of it. It was an F2. Well, this year he's chucked the, because it was young cockbird, chucked it back in with a greenfinch hen because it was spare and the hen had never done anything. And now what's happened? He only filled the eggs and they've got chicks now. I don't know what they're going to be. I would say, well, they're more on a greenfinch line now than a crossbill. They were an F2 hybrid before. Don't know what you call it now. It's just a 3/4 greenfinch crossbill to me. But it'd be interesting to see how they turn out. So Mark's done okay. He's rather happy. Well, he's not. I'll tell you why. He's not happy. He would rather more, but there's still time for him because, like I said, he's breeding in outside flights manner, if you like, climate controlled to suit me. In my shed, I've bred Norwich and a load of 5 canaries, greenfinches, just a mixed variety of hardbills. I've chose to end my season now because over the last 2 weeks, what I've noticed is, especially with the, whether it be greenfinch hens or canary hens that I'm using for feeders or 5 hens, they are starting to bring birds up, and it comes to a point where my knowledge through the years has brought this to my attention. They're bringing birds up and there's nothing wrong with these birds, and then letting them die overnight. Stop feeding them, and I mean, I had a greenfinch in cage 2, which you probably saw in a previous episode. There was 2 in there. There's only 1 in there now. It was fully feathered. She just stopped feeding it, and I think they just get tired, and that's when I can tell. As well, like I said before, the feathers and stuff everywhere. There's greenfinches in the flights now. In 2 of the flights I had greenfinches hatch and never attempted to feed them, and they fed in the first round, so there was no issue there. Nothing's disturbed them. Taking a look at them a couple of days after I removed the eggs and chicks, they're just in the bolt. And when it comes to that, they're just not going to feed. So, all but 1 pair of greenfinches in the flight are molting. I've got 1 pair that is on eggs, and the brambles are still faffing around slightly, but there's still plenty of time for them. Otherwise, all the other hardbills are just about molting, chaffinches, crossbills. The native bullfinches I've been looking at today, or British bullfinches I call them, because that's what they are. They are just starting to drop feathers now, so time is up for them, and better luck with them next year. I could have had some off them. I mean, they were just messing around. I think with the climate and the weather and everything in my shed, it's proved a point with the canaries. It's done really well, but when it came to the British finches, when they should have been in full condition, the weather certainly turned and knocked them. So as my season's finished, all I've been doing is cleaning them out, a nice clean disinfectant round all the cages. As I'm going through, I mean, I've not done half as many. Well, actually, tell a lie, I'm not doing them, my wife's doing them. She's cleaning them out and leaving them bare, and I'm just going to disinfect them and re-prepare them. So basically a spray around all the corners, everywhere. Fresh, easy bed, wood chippings on the floor, take all the perches off and all that malarkey. Drinkers off, clean through and put them back in, because what you want is the birds to be in a fresh environment as possible through the molt. So they're not going to pick any bits of droppings up, because young birds they'll pick anything up, and there might be something in them droppings that's diseased or whatever. So a nice clean out works a treat. But like I said, while doing that, it gives me a chance to actually take a look through a few of the younger birds, like greenfinches, which I'll show you shortly. Also here we've got a couple of 5s. They're not going to be here long. They're only in these cages while the cages are getting cleaned out and things like that. So just gives me a quick opportunity to look for them and show you guys what's what with them. But like I said, the Norwich I will show later on once I've dried out. So yeah, let's take a look at a couple of these young uns, and I will talk about what my opinion is on them they are now. This is just a couple of second round fives, and as it is, they don't look nothing at the moment. This is the first time for these in the showcase, so I'm not expecting much, but it's like I said, all I'm doing is running them into a show cage while they're getting cleaned out. Just gives me 5 minutes to have a quick look at them before I put them back in and make a judgment on later on. But these are the ones that have dried out better than what the other ones have, so this is why I've picked these two. This is just two young greenfinch cockbirds. There is, for me anyway, a notable difference on both these and the nest mates. But the one to the right hand side is got more body on it. The, like I said, nest mate, so they should develop quite nice. Quite nice long birds, so I'm hoping that develop underneath and give them more of a body weight. But don't forget, these have not really full into the molt yet. They have started dropping feathers, they are on baycocks now. So 4 to 6 weeks time I'll be having a good look at these as to train them properly. But for now they are in two number 3 show cages that we do show greenfinches in. On the front, as you can see, they've got the drinkers, just any opportunity to try and get them to learn to drink. So if you are going to exhibit birds, you need to make sure that they can learn to drink through the drinking hole with the drinkers that's on. Otherwise, there's no point in showing them. You're just going to lose your birds because they can't get water. But later on in the series, what we'll do is run through how I train my birds. It's quite simple. It's not rocket science, and just some tips on how to steady them up if you've got a flightier bird. But yes, they've got the standard drinkers on the front, and on the bottom of the cage floor there, which I didn't mention about the fives, these have got greenfinch mix. It's an hard seed. I don't want to put soak seed on the bottom of the show cages because it'll just end up sprouting and making a horrible mess of the cage. In the 5 show cages, I'll just put easy bed on the floor and canary seed in the corner with the top hat drinkers. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, these two have not been in the show cage, and as it is now, they're quite steady. So for me, that just shows that it's something I've said a long time ago. Steadiness is bred into birds. I don't believe that every bird you're going to get is going to be completely steady. But for these being in here for 5 minutes and the way they're acting, I'm quite happy with that. But yes, 2 runners there. I will catch another 2 up shortly. I'll put these back into the cage that's been cleaned out. I'll catch another 2 nestmates, so separate nestmates. These are cock and an hen, and have a look at them. It's just a close-up of the one on the right hand side. I'll do one on the left shortly. This is just a look at the there's a couple of Norwich in this one. You can't really see them because they're on the floor. And over here we do have one of the York, 2 of the Yorkie Cross 5s there. They're going to be perfect for exactly what I need them for next year. These will be going on Carafel Orange in about 3 weeks' time. So as I see the feathers start to drop, I'll get them straight on Carafel Orange. I have actually already got the Norwich on Carafel Orange now, just to catch them before they actually go in the moult, because they just literally start dropping feathers. But yeah, these are in a cage all together. Fives in another cage, greenfinches in another. Just keeping them sectioned off. But one thing to remember, don't overcrowd your birds if you are weaning them. Try and wean nest mates together and keep them, obviously, that way they're not getting too much of a shock being introduced to different things. And like I said, fresh food, fresh lettuce, spinach, broccoli, whatever you're giving them in green foods every day, and that'll keep them nicely balanced. Yeah, I mean, ideally I should have left the bath until I finished recording, but that's a near perfect scenario. While I'm over in this area, I just thought I'd show you quickly. That's one of the young greenfinches there, and a couple of fives in there that he's been fostered with a pair of fives. Quite a lumpy little bird, so we'll see. I mean, I know he's out the nest and he's just started picking up, but I'm not counting him yet till he's through the moult. You never should with greenfinches. Quickly while I'm here, this is just the two red poles I was talking about. Got the brown pastel there and the other small one there. Half asleep enjoying the sun. This is cage 2. Every time I come in, this little fella, a little greenfinch, keeps jumping ship. Keep having to put him back in there. And if you do have to do that, just hold your hand over the nest for a couple of seconds, just to steady him on. But no doubt he'll be out again in a second because he's a pain, that boy. He shouldn't be leaving yet, he's only 12 days old. He's up there asking to be fed. No, I don't think she's going to feed while we stood over here. This is one of the crossbills. He's literally been in there 20 seconds. He's just a bit startled, he's wondering where he is. This is one of them that was with, he was with the pair in the flight with the greenfinch cock I introduced, which I was half believing it could have been an hybrid, but definitely not. As soon as it came out and its beak started to cross, you could tell it's definitely a crossbill. Very cunning birds, crossbills, that anyone that don't keep or breed them and thinking about it, they're very brainy birds, and they do know how to escape. Any escape route they can find, they will be out. So these two are nest mates also. Now the cock is on the left, the hen is on the right. These are heavily in the moult, as you can see. These have been on baycocks. And please remember, if you are giving baycocks to your birds, 2 ml per litre once a month. If you give them too much, I mean 2 days, not too bad. I like to give it them once a month. That's it. You don't want to damage the livers. The young birds, and they got a lot of developing to do. Like I said, no more than 2 days a month if you are doing it that way, or just for me 1 day a month. As you can see, these are heavily in the moult, so they're not really nice to look at. But we'll see. I actually think these will actually turn out, although the others that I shown earlier look better as they are because obviously they're not in the moult, but I think these will make better birds than the other ones. And actually these are from better stock birds than the other ones, but it doesn't always prove that way. I'll put these back in the cages now, let them settle down. The cage is nice and clean now, so they can go back. going to take a quick look now at two young fives. They're both on the, well, I think they're both buffs. I do like the way the one on the right stands. He's standing tall. Very interesting and intriguing. Never been in a show cage again. And what I'm going to start doing shortly is hanging show cages on the front of the kit, or the training cages on the front, to get them used to the cages, but don't want to miss an opportunity while cleaning out, so put them in a cage to have a look. And then the one on the right is, yeah, he's doing all the right things, working the purses well, so hopefully he'll shape up a bit better. Yeah, this one here, we don't know. They're just drying off now, just after having a bath, so. Yeah, they are pulling slightly, but that's part of training, getting them used to the cages and things like that. One thing I do give religiously to my birds is lettuce. This is what I've grown literally in a veg patch straight outside the shed. Now, but obviously every day I'll cut this and spinach down just to the base of it, and obviously it'll grow again. But one piece like that won't last long in your cages where you've got your bred birds. But before you obviously give it make sure you give it a thorough rinse through. I'm quite lucky to have a sink in my place. I mean, I've already given it a wash down early, but obviously just for the purpose. And all I give it to them just wet like that. So much benefits of just giving it just wet through. Moisture on it for the younger birds that are just weaning. And obviously the birds just like splash around on it, and it's full of water. I'm going to give this now to the ones with the chicks up there, because I know as soon as I give it she'll fill her crop and pass it straight on to the young ones. Right, I mean, as far as the shed, like I said, over the next few weeks, what we're going to be doing is basically taking everything out of the flights, taking the nest sites down, taking the conifer out, getting rid of that, disinfecting out again, everything clean in there. And the way I like to do things is, one flight I'll get maybe 5 current year hens, next flight to that will be 5 current year cocks, couple of flights further down away from them, current year adult cocks, adult hens, and vice versa, just to keep them away from each other. As it comes on through autumn, there's no problem with putting bullfinches cocks together, chaffinch cocks together, because obviously once they're molting, they're not in breeding condition, so they're not going to scrap to be the dominant one. And you will realise that a lot more even with the canaries and stuff. That greenfinch in cage 2 again, up the nest, and he's on the floor calling for food. But yes, I mean, in here I've got one pair of Norwich over that side that's on eggs. I've not checked them yet. Today's the day I will be checking them. I said over already, we've got 5s over there just finishing off. Pair of greenfinches in the flight. So as it winds down for me, it actually becomes easier. Towards obviously the molting time and stuff, the birds are easy. I haven't got to be in 4 or 5 times a day to check on the young ones and fill up the seed pots, make sure they've got enough food and water for the young ones, because they do go through a lot. That doesn't mean say though that I change my diet. As it approaches, yeah, she's feeding cage 2 now. She's feeding, no, that's actually the cockbird. Feeding the young greenfinches jump nest again. not a better sound in my eyes than a cock bird tending to the young. So yes, they would be getting the same thing, egg food daily. And it has been asked of me what egg food I actually personally use. I did at the beginning of the season. I mean, that's the mix there, I'll explain shortly. At the beginning of the season I was using my own mix, which would have been certain ones mixed together with shrimp in, which I bought extra dried shrimp. That was more on the lines because I wanted to, rather than bitting and bobbing different egg foods throughout canaries, British finches and the brambles and yellow hammers. But as time's progressed and they've not done what they wanted to do, I've gone back to the original mix I started at the beginning of the season, would have been King's Egg Food. I swear by King's Egg Food. I've used it for the last 2 years now. I used to use Versalager and Deli Nature, but for me King's is by far the best, and the birds take to it better. Other people, they've got their own food, what they use. I know a lot of people have asked me for CD egg food, but I just don't. If someone wanted it, I would get it for them, but when they ask me what I'm using, I'll tell them the truth, and it is only that. But yes, I mean, over here we do have nest pans coming out, variety of different ones I've explained before. White ones I use for the first round, orange ones, as you can see over there, I use for the second round. Orange ones if I wanted to hang them on the front, and this is a deeper Norwich one that I've been using for Norwich and greenfinches. And someone did ask me, and I have actually had pictures sent to me, which is quite nice to see our products being used. Well, what products we supply for people anyway. And a lot of people are using the grass liners. Over this year, we're in the shed, in the flights, in the cages, as you would see from my earlier videos, I did offer cocoa liners and grass liners. Every pair, but this pair of greenfinches, used grass liners, without a shadow of doubt. Every single pair of greenfinches. These went to nest in this one here, which is a grass liner, then they went for the second round in a cocoa liner. I'm not just saying this to sell everything to you, but what I did this year, it was just, obviously you've got two options, and every time they went for the grass liner, which is natural grass. It's 100% natural for them, and it worked for me. So I hope that answered the question when people have asked me what am I using, and sometimes it sounds repetitive when I keep saying it, but grass liners is all I've used this year that I've had success with. But yeah, not much more to report in here. One thing I will say though, and this is just my way, the mule and hybrid pairs, which I've been unsuccessful this year for one reason or another, whether it be dead in shell and other scenarios that's in with that, I don't split them up. I will be keeping them together all the way through the molt to keep that bond together. When it comes to breeding season, I'll explain that again next year, what's what. But like the Greeny Chaffee pairs, the Greeny Chaffee pair, the crossbill with Norwich, the Norwich never went down. The Greeny Bully pair, they've bonded, he's feeding her, there was no issue, just sometimes it doesn't work out. But they'll stay together again over winter, and then as it comes to breeding season next year, I'll introduce, take them out for a couple of weeks and reintroduce them when they're ready. Right, let me just try and get a shot of this for you real quick. That's the N5 there, just feeding the two young Redpolls. That's the one I just put the lettuce in, and I can see her feeding the lettuce straight to the young ones already. That is bringing us towards the end of the episode, not the very end, but towards the end. There is a few things to mention. Did I hit my target of breeding the amount that I wanted? In the British, no. In the fives, yep, we've got over 50 young fives this year from 8 pairs. One pair, believe it or not, she had 1 round, 3 chicks. They all survived. They're all down in this cage here. She never went to a second round, which is a bit strange, but she was a current year bird anyway. But I'm not that bothered. Quite happy with the numbers so far. Like I said, on the British side, could I have done any better? Not for the love of trying. Sometimes it just ends up like that. But that's all the birds. Right. This Sunday we will be at Sutton Bird. It's Fur and Feather Sale. The postcode is SM1 3HH. Harry. We will be there opening up to people that are interested in selling the birds and the bird products there. It's open at 5:30. Open to public at 7 PM. Now, just think about it before you even turn up. We've still got this COVID around, and there is COVID restrictions that do apply at this sale. Masks must be worn all the time, and obviously we are limited to a certain amount of people in at once. So just bear that in mind if you are coming down. We will have a full array of bird seeds, products and anything like that. If you are coming and you want a sack of seed, just send me a message and pre-order it, because there's been so many people that did turn up last month, 4 sacks of seed, and unfortunately we'd sold out before they'd even wanted it, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. So yeah, any sacks of seed, just send me a message on Facebook or directbirdproducts.com or WhatsApp. My WhatsApp number's on the website. Now over to the website type of stuff. Right, we've got another shipment just come in. Plenty of new stuff and plenty of stuff that we just sold out of last time. Wooden pine perches actually. These perches, we've got another stock of the 40cm perches then. They're 40cm perches. Drinkers, the stumpy drinkers, we've got an array of different drinkers. We have been asked for the smaller drinkers, 60 centilitres. Nest boxes, in-flight nest boxes for British finches, which is a plastic nest box with a front opening, like we use with external ones, but plastic ones. Carry boxes, transport boxes, transport cages. Just check the website out. There'll be a lot of new products on there. We have got certain things back in stock that we did sell out of, the red egg food and formula and rearing formula, all that type of stuff. Not going to blabber on too much. Just check it out on the website. But yes, that will bring us to the end of the show this week. Stay tuned though. We are heading up north to Stacey Turner's place over the next coming weeks. He's now actually got his shed completely finished, and complimentary of Dave Rand's new banks of cages, and he's got God knows how many pairs of red poles. He's obviously a gold medal winner at the World Show, him and Paul Meek, so it's the Turner and Meek partnership. I'll be going to Stacey's place and doing some filming up there. By the way, yes, enjoy the football tomorrow. Obviously, we need to win. We're going to win, without a doubt. Have the faith. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and it'll tell you every time we do upload a video. Anything to say, comment in the comments below. Anything you need, just send me a message. Well, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time.